All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this regular scheduled meeting of the Temple City Council. It is currently 5:07 p.m. on October 20th, 2022. Please rise as Mayor Pro Tem Judy Morales leads us in the invocation, followed by the pledge led by City Secretary Jana Lou Ellen.
Pray with me, please. Heavenly Father, we come today to thank you for a new day. We thank you for our daily bread and for the opportunity to love and to give and to become the people you want us to be. Thank you for allowing us to gather as united people as we work together for the betterment of all. We praise you and ask that what we do is pleasing to you. Father, you graciously hear all our prayers, and you promise that when two or three are together in your name, you will be granted their request. Fulfill our hearts and our prayers and make things work together for good. Increase our knowledge of your truth and our experience of your love. We thank you. Thank you that you are the rock and fortress, and that we can always find refuge in you. You have said that who are weary and burdened should come to you, and you will give them rest. Your yoke is easy, and your burden is light. Clothe us in your armor as we stand firm in the face of the enemies of Satan, sin, and death. We ask that you protect and give peace to all those who are suffering because of Putin, and for those suffering from the hurricane, and for those all who need you. Bless and protect our leaders. Give us wisdom and guidance, Father. Bless our mayor, our city council, city staff, police, our firemen, our military, and first responders, and all those who step up each day to help and protect us. Remind us that you go before us, each of us, and then you fight for us, and that you help us to rest in you. Let your grace be always with us and with the ones that you love. Father, we thank you and we love you. We offer these prayers through your most precious Son, Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are you?
Okay, we are now coming to the public comment section of the meeting. We have about 40 people who have signed up to speak tonight. And I'm sure most of it is on on the consent agenda regarding the property out in West Temple for the multifamily. I think there may be a misconception that that project may or may not happen. The zoning has already been approved for that project. And so all we're talking about is the site plan. We're talking about where the buildings go on this piece of land. That's the only thing that's up for discussion. That project can, and it appears that it will happen regardless of traffic counts, regardless of anything else. So again, 40 folks have signed up. And if the conversation is going to be around whether or not that project should be approved, that project has been approved with the zoning change. It's allowed by right. And so I would appreciate it in your comments let's do a couple of things. If you can, let's designate one or two people to speak for the group instead of 40 something people. Because typically about the third or fourth person, we just start repeating. Everyone's saying the same thing that the person or two or three or five before them said. So it would be nice if we could do that. But if you are just absolutely adamant that your message is going to be different than the people before you, then obviously anyone's willing to speak. But if you've already heard what you're going to say, if we can, let's just move on through the names, because again, This project is allowed by right, and it can and it more than likely will happen. So tonight, what's on the agenda is to approve the site plan, which if for those folks that were here last time, we talked about a traffic impact analysis. And that hasn't been done yet, hasn't been completed, probably hasn't even been started yet. And so so that's the only reason why this would be back on, is to go through the final process to then start the traffic impact analysis. Okay, so I know that sometimes those notices, whenever they come out, you think that maybe it's that a change can be made. The zoning change happened 2 or 3 years ago, and there is nothing that we can do about that right now. Okay, so this is simply a site plan approval. That's all. Does that make sense? Okay, so with that, citizens who desire to address the council on any matter may do so, as long as you've signed up prior to this meeting. We ask that you please limit your comments to no more than 3 minutes. No discussion or final action will be taken by the council. And one thing that we're going to do tonight also is whenever I'm going to call 2 people up at a time. The first time I'm going to call the first speaker up and then someone on deck. And when the speaker's finished, I'm going to call the next person on deck. So we can at least, if we're going to hear 40 people, at least be ready to step up and speak. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So the first person is Carolyn Wagner. On deck is Bobby Lewis. Is Bobby here?
Caroline Wagner, 712 Moon Shadow.
Please
Temple,
watch
Texas.
the timer over in the
Yes.
corner too. Thank you.
I'm here. I understand what you're saying. I just want it to be known and on the record and for everyone to see this. We were not sent a proper notification. I know we've already discussed that, but we're proceeding with the project before traffic impact analysis is done. So let's proceed before we know it's safe. I have spoken to over 200 residents. Nobody's in agreement to this. People in the 200 feet did not get notices. I want that known. And also too, with the traffic impact analysis, I just want you guys aware of it. You guys are looking at West Adams Avenue. You're not taking into consideration all the many parents that cut down Sage Meadows to go up to Pea Ridge to get up to West Adams because there's a traffic light there and it's safer there. We're not taking into consideration the schools. I've spoken to people at the school. I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus, but it is a concern. They say they've addressed that. And I just think it's wrong. I sent you a petition with over 200 signatures. Those people's lives and their children's lives are on your hands.
Thank you. On deck is Christian Ekie. You're good? Okay, then after that is Frost, Sharon Frost. I'm good. Okay. Michelle Frost. Okay. Mitzi Larkin. Pardon? Are you Mitzi? Yes. Okay, you're on deck. Go ahead, Mr. Lewis.
Thank you very much. I didn't come here intending to speak, like a lot of other people sitting here anxious to talk about everything that's already been discussed by the council. And there's not much, as you said, that could be done about particular things that people came here for. I'm a neighbor of Lonesome Oak. I have 6 kids, and I am also a renter. Now, I grew up in a little town, much like Temple. Half the reason why I love moving here from San Diego is because the neighborhood feels like it was when I was a kid. And regardless of the impact of 150 homes and the traffic that is going to take place, I just have to say that not a lot of people are even really represented here, but I'm sure we all have the same heart as neighbors, right? And all I'd like to say is that the fact that a lot of people are here wanting to address certain things kind of feels like something else should have been done sooner, to at least give everyone the opportunity to address these concerns. So I feel like more than anything, that's what I would have to add versus what everyone else would want to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Ms. Larkin. Sharon Sierras.
I'm Mitzi Larkin from 9010 Vista Valley Drive. My main concern is to pull this item from the consent agenda because I don't feel like, as I spoke before about the retention pond, is adequate. Even ours, the one that they have in Sage Meadows, Village of Sage Meadows, is not adequate. We still have major flooding. And my house happens to be the second from the last home from the hill that's on Vista Valley. And all that water runs through my backyard into my front yard. And I have to replace my soil every year because I have huge holes in the yard because of it. And on the side of our homes, there's a huge lake or a river that runs through it once we have a major downfall and rainfall. And, you know, adding to concrete area is just going to add to that water area. And it's going to flood more and more. You'll see that it's just not adequate enough. And second of all, I have a concern about the number of parking spaces that's allotted for this 180 unit complex. Where do their friends park? And where do the extra roommates and the family members park? And where they're going to park is right across from our park, because if they get the chance to connect the two trailways and the dog parks and all of that with Sage Meadows, Village of Sage Meadows Park, then people are going to park over in our area and walk through to their apartment. And I think that's horrible. And I think it needs looked into. Thank you.
Thank you. Angel Santiago on deck.
My name is Sharon Sierras, and it sounds as if this is already going to go through. It's very sad that we are here to object to this. We were not given adequate notice before this council has decided what is going to happen in our neighborhood. We did not have a say. This is very, very unfortunate. We don't even have a representative for District 4 to represent us. We learned about this 3 days before the last city council meeting. That's terrible. Look at these concerned citizens. Do we not have a say? I actually took a photo of, this is a photo leaving Lake Belton Middle School. Lake Belton Middle School this year had to modify their parking lot so that you can only make a right turn. It says right turn only onto Cedar because of traffic situations and concerns. No one up here seems to be concerned about that. Also, this was taken yesterday. This photo was taken yesterday. This is the proposed site for the entrance and exit on Cedar Avenue, or Cedar Road, excuse me, for this proposal. How are 300 plus cars going to get out on Cedar? 300 plus cars, when you can see that this is my car and there were several behind me. This is the middle school here, and it wraps all the way around Tarver. How are 300 cars going to fit on this road? And this was pushed through. It was respectfully, Mayor, you had suggested that the city council table this proposal. And after further discussion, it was pushed through. And, you know, the traffic analysis has not been done. We don't know the impact that it's going to take on our community. And we, the concerned neighbors here, several of them are here to speak out. 40 people want to speak in regards to this. We're not going to be heard. It's already determined that this is going to happen. So if that is the case, what can we do? I guess the only thing that we can do is hope that that this analysis can be done, and the builder, in good faith, he says, will comply with the suggestions that is going to come out of this analysis. It's terrible. For the safety of the community and the students, please pull this item Q from this consent agenda tonight. Please pull it, please.
Angela Bess. Angela, you're on deck.
Angel Santiago, 316 Starview. Our request that, and what we agreed to as we spoke, was simply to respectfully request that you pull item Q from the consent agenda. There's many reasons why. I wanted to share, as she said, the mayor got to a point last meeting to say, do we have a motion to vote to proceed? And it was there was no motion. Mayor said, okay, well, we're going to proceed without a vote. And a concern to give guidance turned into, I just want to draw your attention to the type of approval we have at the moment. The approval says the builder makes a commitment to proceed in goodwill pending a traffic analysis. So what I want to invite the council to consider is, let's pull it from consent. Let's define how goodwill would be established, which is to say the builder had some good points. What if the traffic analysis says we need a traffic light? Which is if we're talking about children getting their education getting to school in a timely manner, in a safe manner, the quality of life of parents to drop their children off peacefully, getting to work, and nobody's changing the way they live. Well, let's look, what are the options going to be? And what portion are taxpayers going to pay? So are we committing to say, you know, it's a done deal. It's already approved. There's nothing we could do. There are some things we could do. 317, Adams, other creative, other engineering solutions to say, here's how we're going to put 300 cars on Cedar. Because if I live in those apartment complexes, because they said there's a need for these apartments in Temple, right? And I want to get to work and I live there. And what are all these people doing blocking the entrance to where I live? Because I live in the apartments. How am I going to get to work? It's very clear something's amiss, something in planning, whatever step. I think we approved and proceeded without a traffic analysis analyzing Cedar. That was established in the last meeting. So the request it's a reasonable request. Please pull from consent today, regroup, let's get the analysis together, and let's say, well, here's the cost. Here's what traffic says. How do we pay for that? And then we have a plan with all the other items to say, well, everybody might not be happy, but you did listen to the residents who live there and you respected the concerns, very reasonable concerns that are brought up to the council. Thank you.
Thank you. Angela Lewis.
Okay. Hi, my name is Angela Bess. I live in Sage Meadows with my husband. I have been a resident of this county for 20 years. I graduated from Robert Shoemaker High School. Okay, I've lived in Temple, I've lived in Belton, I've lived in Killeen. I travel to Austin every day. And as many of our residents know, how easy is it to get to the highway? All right. I fought on West Adams to get here tonight. Isn't that ironic? But you guys, we already have 2 apartment complexes being built on West Adams by the loop. Okay, one of them has 25 different buildings. Now we're gonna get 180 right next to my house on a lane that only has 2 directions in each way. I can't even turn into my own neighborhood because I'm waiting on parents picking up their kids. I work for Temple ISD and I work for Austin ISD, okay? I do not appreciate this. I don't appreciate it at all. I didn't get notification. He works from home. We should have gotten this. Where is it at? Y'all did this during COVID probably because you knew nobody could say nothing about it. We got 1 HEB in Temple and y'all know where it is. It's on the east side of town. Where is this apartment complex? It's on the west side. We have to go to Belton to go to the grocery store. We have 1 Walmart. What are y'all thinking? 180 apartment units? Probably about 4 people living in each one. How much is that? Almost 800. Every time I go to HEB or Walmart, whatever I want is already out of stock. You guys have not thought this through. You are hurting our community. Okay? I have been here. Have you? Good for you. But I have been here. I went to high school here. My father did 30 years in the military here. I live here because I like the country. But y'all seem to want to make this into Austin. And what y'all doing? Selling our land cheap. You really should be ashamed of yourself.
Ms. Lewis,
I don't know if you're going to call someone else up. Yes.
pardon?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
Angela Lewis.
Angela Alvarado. Okay. So then it'll be Daniel Tillery. You're on deck, Daniel. Yes, ma'am.
I am Angela Lewis, and I am on the HOA board for Village of Sage Meadows. I have lived here for almost 9 years. We have a lot of concerns HOA wise. Traffic is a big concern, but HOA, you're talking about merging our trails with the trails coming in. Are you planning to pay for the upkeep that HOA dues pay for? If people park, okay, if you connect those trails, people will start parking in our streets. We're talking about, are they subject to violations? We can tow their cars because they are not part of our HOA and they are not homeowners or living in our area. Also, I provided some maps of where our lines are. And I also have a map that our property management sent me. I wasn't able to print it, but it's on my phone that shows the 9 acres. And where your retention pond isn't even on the 9 acres. And our trails the trail you're talking about doesn't even line up to our trail. So how is that's not even on your 9 acres of property to even attach to our trail? And you're saying that you have rights to connect our trails, but as a HOA, y'all are not paying our HOA dues. The apartment complex is not going to pay to help maintain our area unless y'all put that in, that they have to help maintain, because they shouldn't have any access to our area. They're not paying to be there. So, and traffic's a big one, but yes.
Thank you. Ian Workman.
Good evening. My name is Daniel Tillery. I'm a disabled veteran. I bought my house in 2006. I'm the original owner. My house backs up to Cedar Road. I'm in the 200-foot zone. Okay, in 2019, I never got any notification of a zoning change. Most of the people I've talked to, everybody I've talked to says there was no notification given out. You know, we have to go back and look at that. I don't know. But I would like this to be pulled from the agenda. I think that it's been ramshotted through. I don't think you can tell by the amount of people here, no one is really been notified, or they would have been here. You see the response, okay? It's pretty obvious. I believe that there's been no traffic analysis. How do you know it's a good idea to go ahead and go with that? There's no forethought at all with this project. None whatsoever. Y'all just, okay, rubber stamp it. Let's go on to the next one. People's lives matter. We've already had one fatality from Cedar in 2019. How many fatalities are acceptable for y'all? I want to know. I want an answer. Okay, you're pouring gas on the fire. This was not well thought out at all. It was just rubber stamped. The amount of people that were notified, it's only you consider 200 feet from the project when it impacts the whole community. That's ridiculous. It might be a rule, but it still doesn't make it right. There's no forethought in planning, disregard to the impact, just accept it. That's what we're getting from our city council. Remind you, we're all taxpayers. We all live here. We love our community. That's why we're here, because we love our community. Make that clear. Just accept it. It shows total disregard for how we feel about our community and the planning and whatever goes into it. It's obvious that there's so many people here because they care that there was no notification done properly, but we just have to accept that. I'm sorry, this is not Russia. We're not accepting it. We're standing up. And personally, I feel like y'all have you don't really care at all. It's apparent. Just accept it. That's ridiculous. There's no public busing on that side of town. They're talking about putting in commercial projects on the other side of that, this proposed project. It's gonna escalate more, and that area is already, it's beyond extremely congested. It's dangerous just pulling off Cedar during the morning and the afternoon, really into the evening. I've heard that they've said, and I don't have evidence of this, but there's no traffic light will be put in there. That's just, it's poor planning.
Mr. Tillery, your time's up. Thank you. Ian Workman, and then Javier Garcia.
Hello, Mr. Mayor, council members, neighbors, friends. I live at 8510 Sunset Canyon Drive. I'm also a member of Sage Meadows Board. Our board was not informed of this project. The homeowners in our area were not informed of this project. This project not only affects the village of Sage Meadows and Sage Meadows, but every parent that drops off their kid from the 3 adjacent neighborhoods surrounding us. There is no traffic study put in place for it. I've been petitioning the city since 2019 to come out and do a traffic assessment for crosswalks. In front of you, you have a PowerPoint that I've emailed out to my homeowners that shows the hazard areas. There's no crosswalks for these children. They're out there. The safety is of the utmost concern for me. And I'm sure that everybody in this room will echo that. If you can't get a traffic study done to put in some crosswalks for kids' safety, how are you going to affect this? There's no answer. You can't. That's all I have. I'll yield my time.
Thanks, sir. Wayne Wojtka.
My name is Javier Garcia, 414 Starview Street. I don't mean to rehash some things, so I edited my paper here. Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. I respectfully request that item Q be pulled from the consent agenda from a traffic safety standpoint. West Adams is already a very congested area in the mornings and afternoons when most people are on their way to work and from work, myself included. Traffic gets backed up on Cedar Road from every residence trying to get onto West Adams, especially those turning left towards 317. In the evenings, the left turn lane at P Ridge gets considerably long. The occasional protected left doesn't last, giving priority to those heading east. One must wait for the 2 backed up lanes of traffic to go by to turn, then it cycles again. Cedar Road is already extremely congested during morning drop-off and afternoon pickup of children at Lake Belton Middle School, effectively taking up 2 of the 4 lanes in that short stretch. The proposed 180-unit apartment complex will add 2 entrances for an additional 340 or so vehicles to only further congest that area during peak hours. Think big city gridlock traffic, only not in a big city or even at downtown. It's in an established, single-family residential area with several other like subdivisions surrounding. Picture Cypress Creek residents trying to exit onto Cedar Road like the picture depicted, with the backed up traffic almost up to West Adams. It already gets that bad. I've seen people threaten to use their vehicles as weapons, trying to push through when they need to get somewhere, leading to more accidents, increased injury, and potential loss of life. Think of the road rage. What we need is better infrastructure, more roads, not more residents stacked up like cordwood. There is already a new development of townhomes being built off Pea Ridge and Tarver across from Pearl Elementary. Another one down from that off Pea Ridge and Hogan. These additional residents are only going to worsen an already bad situation. There's nothing we can do about those developments, but you can stop this one from moving forward. I imagine people cutting through my Sage Meadow subdivision from Cedar Road to get to Pea Ridge, possibly causing a gridlock there as well. This will be a nightmare for those of us living in Sage Meadows, since all streets in Sage Meadows empty onto Sage Meadows Drive. I'd hate to come around the corner from my house only to be met with gridlock in my own subdivision. Having lived in San Antonio for over 20 years, I know what big city traffic is like. Think Austin traffic. I'm sure everyone here is familiar with that and not a fan. We're not quite there yet, but well on our way. If you choose to move forward with this proposed Cypress Creek apartment complex, you will be sentencing us to this new reality daily. Would you want this next to your home? Please reconsider. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Svetlana, you're on deck, ma'am.
Wayne Boyko, Belton, Texas. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council, for the opportunity to speak tonight. We're going to shift gears just a little bit, but I think there's a lot of similarity and commonality in the topics, or the root cause of some of the topics that I'm about to discuss as well. It seems that recently the city has updated and revised the website, and from the standpoint of words have meaning, there's some words I'd like to potentially table for your consideration. I think quite specifically, the City Council and the City of Temple has stressed the goal and the objective of transparency, and that's on the City Council's website. But also too, there seems to be an opportunity with transparency as it relates to not only some of the zoning opportunities that are mentioned tonight, but also as it relates to the performance and excellence department of the City Council. The performance and excellence has a mission statement to drive innovation, collaboration, and high performance. Of that, there's a DEI division, their mission statement to organize initiatives and programs to promote equity and inclusion so that employees feel welcome, safe, and valued. I would imagine that would also include some of the citizens out towards West Adams. At the same time, DEI Commission, Performance Excellence Commission, wants to prioritize accountability, transparency, there's that word again, and equity within our community. Equity and equality are different. Equality means everyone is treated the same, regardless of differences. Equity means that everyone is provided with what they need to be successful. My question to you all for consideration, exactly who will determine what I need to succeed, what my children need to succeed? Is that the same individual or individuals who recommended the Nova Collective to City Council? And will they use the same poor judgment and criteria that nearly allowed Nova to invade our community? This is not transparency. We need transparency. And we need collaboration with the citizens as it relates to the new programs that are sure to hit your desk, the training programs of the city employees with the moniker of DEI. I think you missed an opportunity and you still have time to change or modify the opportunity at hand. Change the terminology DEI and become more in touch with the voting citizens of Temple, Texas. Thank you very much.
Brindley. Nell, you're on deck.
My name is Svetlana Vinich. I live in 1041 Lonesome Oak Drive. 180 apartments, 302 parking spot. That means if each apartment has only 2 cars, that's 360. And we know that there will be more than 2 cars per household in many cases. This is just common sense. Where are these people gonna park? Where are the visitors gonna park? Will they park at the village of Sage Meadows and walk over to the apartments? Then 2 entrance on Cedar, 180 family trying to get on Cedar. We already saw pictures. This is disaster and it should concern each one of us. Do we have the infrastructure for this project? Do we have enough first responders or people or a person with a heart attack should wait 30 minutes to get help? We know schools are crowded. We know there is not enough teachers. I would know, I work for Belton ISD. Right now, I can pull my phone and show you the app where substitute teachers go to get their substitute jobs. There is 380 available jobs to substitute to take every single day. 3 years ago, this was 20 or 30 jobs, so you better hurry up and get one because somebody else is gonna get it. This should tell us something. I have included a few pictures from a car accident that occurred as I was going from Cedar on West Adams Avenue when I got struck just a few seconds after I made a turn. I was not at fault. I actually, well, that's all I'm gonna say about that. But with adding more people adds more accidents. Please do not cram more people to this area. Please do not approve this project without traffic report and listening to the concerns of people who drive these 2 streets every single day. We are building on every single green area that we have, and we're knocking down every tree. We are not existent without the nature. So please pull this item from the consent agenda until you have all the information to make informed decision. Thank you.
And Carrie Dudley.
I'll give my time, but I want it on record that I am agreeing with all.
Noted. Karen Myers. Ms. Brindley.
I'm Nell Brindley. I live in Temple, Texas. My husband and I moved back home to Temple from San Francisco, California in 1980 to live near family in the family-friendly town we grew up in. Until State Representative Slayton's anti-drag legislation is passed when the legislature reconvenes in January, I'm asking the Temple City Council to pass an ordinance banning drag queen shows in public restaurants and venues effective immediately in the city of Temple. Your formation of the DEI Commission has attracted and emboldened pro-LGBTQ++ establishments such as Fajita Kings, Corky's, and Fox Dog to have sexually explicit events where alcohol is served and what are billed as family-friendly activities. Drag shows are not family-friendly. They glorify perversion and groom children. Sexual grooming of children is child abuse. Please don't turn Temple into San Francisco, Austin, or Plano. I really don't want to turn on my TV and see men parading around in women's clothes in Temple, Texas on Fox News or KCEN TV. You as our leaders need to protect our city, especially the children who are the most vulnerable among us.
Thank you, Ms. Brindley.
You're a tough act to follow.
Kosta Clover.
Karen Myers, 1040 Lonesome Oak Drive. I'd like to point out, I've been sitting here and observing us, and if you don't think there's a disconnect between those monitors that you're hiding behind, that's sad.
We've discussed that before.
Sorry?
Right up here. We've discussed what these the impact of these monitors before.
Well, there's a disconnect.
Yep, I understand. I
Mhm.
agree.
Okay, so stand up.
No.
Okay. I'm Karen Myers. I'm the president of the Village of Sage Meadows HOA. I'm concerned because there was a comment, and I have no evidence of this, that there were letters sent in 2019 to make us aware of the impact to our neighborhoods. There's no evidence. There's no evidence that letters were sent. And I was thinking about this in regards to a holistic approach. We have police officers here. They give me a ticket and I don't have proof that I paid it. You didn't pay it. What evidence do you have those letters were sent? I have the meeting minutes. I have every email. I have every piece of snail mail we got in 2019. Nobody escalated the situation. And I have a lot of other things to say. But honestly, this comes down to money. It comes down to money. The city of Temple's getting money for these apartments. We get it. The city of Temple took a very ill thought out plan, did not vet it, did not ask questions, did not even oppose anything on it, and pushed it through. And that's concerning. Mr. Mayor, you are an elected official. Are we not part of your constituents? You took the builder's good faith that they maybe did a traffic assessment, but we don't have any proof. And now we're talking about, well, they have the right. What rights do we have? We've lived here. I'm the original owner of my home. Oh, but we've got to push it through. There's some miscommunication about what we're here to talk about tonight. Well, in good faith, maybe you can look in your policies and procedures and rethink this, because it's a really bad idea. And quite frankly, the first time a kid gets hit on Cedar Road, I'm going to be back here asking what you did to prevent it.
Crowd, please. Thank you, ma'am. Leonard Haling, is that right?
My name is Costa, and I just want to start with why these people keep saying about evidence. Do you get time to think about that? Just take 1 minute and think, why do these people keep talking about the evidence of 2019? I think we started with the prayer here. The prayer can be a curse as well if we don't go with it. It can turn into a curse. I'm used to that. I'm a Christian and I believe on that. So I will start by saying that I played soccer. If you are a good player, you do a bad pass, they will take you out. And the bad pass, if it hits someone, that is what is happening now. Because this idea of a complex building, it's a very great idea. Is it on the right place? No, it's not on the right place. You see those guys there? They're very busy. You know what is going on in our country now. They're very busy. You want to put more load on them. I'm talking about law enforcers. If you accept that, you're going to give them more work. I would suggest that you take a time as you are there, go visit that place, that area, Monday through Friday, between 7 and 7:30. Just observe. Just make it as fun time to go to do a field trip and observe it. You're gonna see what I'm talking about. Are you talking about the money, bringing money in Temple? There is a way to do that with that plot there. I don't want you to show your weakness here by saying that this is a rigid project, we can't change anything. That is telling us that you are showing weakness and you are very smart people. And you start with a prayer that is even giving you more strength to take a decision on this. that plot there, you can reduce the hospital visit by bringing Lions Club of Killing there or YMCA of Hakahite there. That will reduce hospital visit. Those who are working out during the heat of 97, they can go there and they walk out. And they can do that. So I don't want to take too much time about saying this, but I will finish by telling you that you are strong, you are smart. Don't show your weakness. You can do something if you want. Take time and go visit.
Thanks, sir. Is Leonard in? Haley? Is that right? I'm having a hard time reading. It looks like Haley. Last name Saipara. Jose Candelario. Dexter McCray. Great. Thank you, sir. Alan Lytle.
Good evening, Alan Lytle, Temple, property ID 444032. And the reason I'm giving you my property ID is we finally got our taxes. And TISD and Temple College promised that no taxes would go up for people like me over the age of 65 with an exemption. Well, guess what? They did. In fact, my taxes went up 10% from last year. I have heard, and I don't remember exactly who's heard it and when it was said, but that the city of Temple also does not raise the taxes on exempt 65s. Unfortunately, that's not true either. I realize it's way too late to do anything about it this year. But the next time somebody wants to put out a bond and promises not to raise taxes on us old people, don't believe them. They're lying. Thank you.
Margie Frazier. Barb Gilbertson, you're on deck.
I'm gonna deviate from all of this and go back to some stuff, the situation. I'm Margie Frazier, FM 2086, Temple, Texas. The situation is indecent exposure in Texas, all due to DEI. Texas defines indecent exposure as exposing any part of your genitals or anus with the intent of sexually arousing, sexually gratifying, offending, or alarming another person or people in a public setting. A public setting is defined as any place in public where people are gathered. Shopping malls, restaurants, apartment complexes, government buildings, schools, public sidewalks, etc. So I just want to know, what is it that makes a drag show family friendly? Because if you follow it to its logical conclusion, you can slap family friendly on anything. You can slap it on gentlemen's clubs, strip shows, porn shops, etc. While we have a culture that has a huge problem with child porn and sex trafficking, Temple, Texas does not need to be a part of that problem. We have a private business selling to the public a restaurant, Fajita King, planning and advertising and putting on a drag queen event. That event we will call exactly what it is, an event to sexualize and groom our young children. So how is it family friendly? A grown man costumed in a sparkly bra with augmented boobs busting out, a leather miniskirt barely covering his twerking ass with duct tape on his front while spreading his fish-netted legs as he rises on the ground, grinding his groin next to a minor. Family friendly. While we have a problem with our culture sexualizing children, child porn, and sex trafficking, you are elected city council members, adults, who have to make a decision whether this and other events like it to sexualize young children will be allowed. If you do not do anything, it makes you groomers and activist pimps. And we won't have those sitting on a city council board who will oversee the safety of our children and the public to stay on board. There's nothing loving, there's nothing Let's unite, we're inclusive, because the logical conclusion of it is you end up in diabolical evil. There are boundaries, and you don't slap family friendly on stuff promoting drag queen events that are sexualizing and grooming our kids at a local business. When did porn business become legal here? Thank you.
Well, as you know,
You're not
I'm
Barb.
not Barb Gilbertson, but she had to leave and she asked me if I would read her message. Is that okay?
Kathy?
Barb Gilbertson's, yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Steve Denoso, you're on deck, sir.
Thank you, Mayor Davis and City Council, for allowing the community to share your concerns about what's going on in our community. I'm going to go back to the subject that Margie has talked about because I'm very concerned. I'm sure you are aware, I know you are, about the Fajita King going to hold a drag party on the 3rd of November at 8 o'clock in the evening. And that's what concerns us. The following is a quote that Barb pulled off of Facebook from someone who is gay to the Fajita King. It says, "It's funny how you want to protect children, you're a hater, or can protect children that you are a hater. There's a group started called Gays Against Grooming, wanting people to know they see this as grooming children and want no connection to these drag queen shows because they feel they have fought hard for their rights and this makes them look bad and is harmful to children. You may think, Fajita King, you are heroic, but truthfully, your desire to do this is nothing short of an attack on the innocent lives of children. Very disappointing in your lack of judgment." That was from someone who is gay writing to the Fajita King. And we are requesting that the City Council establish an ordinance requiring businesses that plan a drag queen event, and I'm adding during hours when children would be there, would post a notice to families that this event is not family friendly. And I'm wondering, she's wondering, what's going on with the DEI and the chamber members? And has DEI been disassembled? Why is there still a DEI commission when they're not meeting? And what are the future plans for DEI? We would like a briefing on what has happened to DEI and what your plan forward is. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Tyson is on deck.
Check. Hi, my name is Stephen Donoso, and I wrote a proposal for what I'm asking for today. And this is my brother in Christ, Jay. He's going to read it because I'm limited in my vision.
Council members, Treasures in Heaven is a nonprofit organization created to help alleviate the homeless situation in Temple, Texas. We believe here at Treasures in Heaven that teaching on health, finances, relationships, recreation, work, and money help to prepare a person who is pursuing a change in life to succeed. We believe that a faith-based program of discipleship, bringing discipline, is the best way to bring about these teachings. We plan to open 2 discipleship homes in the Temple, Texas area, one for males and one for females. It is our desire to be able to assist as many people as possible through this program. Residents in these homes would go through a 2-year discipleship program as described below. The first 3 months will be studying practicing new habits. In addition to faith-based studies, we will be teaching life skills to include interviewing, filling out forms, balancing bank statements, using computers, and other skills necessary for successful living. After the first 3 months in the home, residents will be required to seek employment All residents will also continue their studies while living in the home for 9 months longer. Once employment is acquired, each resident will be required to save 50% of their earnings during the remainder of their time in the home to be used to establish themselves with a place to live as their departure time approaches.
I think I'll fire him.
This term of mandatory savings will not exceed the remainder of the 12 months term at the facility. Upon graduation from the facility, the disciples will be mentored by an area church organization that has agreed to be placed on a list of mentoring partners. They will continue under this mentorship program for the entire second year. Right now, I have a fundraising event tentatively scheduled for Treasures in Heaven on December 10th, 2022. I have secured a commitment for this date from the Southern Gospel Jubilee, a group of 16 bands to perform, each group in their turn on 1 to 2 stages. I am proposing that the city of Temple donate the Blooming Fest Fairgrounds in downtown Temple for this event. We are asking that any and all expenses to secure these facilities to include a stage or stages and provide all necessary outhouses and security to be donated to Treasures in Heaven. A 501c3 non-cash donation form will be available upon request. We welcome any input you may have in regards to the venue and or equipment necessary for this event. We will also be starting up our second annual toy drive at the time of this event. Toys obtained through the toy drive are scheduled to be handed out December 22nd of 2022. The information for children being signed up should be received no later than 5:00 p.m. December 16th, 2022. All donations should also be received by December 16th, 2022 at 5:00 p.m. so that volunteers will have time to properly distribute toys among the children and to do any additional shopping to cover the needs of all who are signed up. We welcome any input you may have as to how to reach out to the community to make this program available to any and all children in need. Thank you very much for your assistance in these matters. Signed, Stephen Donoso, founder of Treasures in Heaven.
If I have a minute. I spoke with the mayor about a year ago now, and I told him that I was ministering to the homeless over at Feed My Sheep, the local soup kitchen here in Temple. And I asked the mayor what his biggest problem in Temple, Texas was, and what I could do to help him. His answer was that he wanted me to stay there and feed my sheep. I was kind of baffled by that, but I understood. I think he was testing me. And I began doing that 5 hours a day, 5 days a week. I go over there and I minister to the homeless. I build relationships with all the homeless who go there daily. And I found out that this is something I always knew. I just never realized how rampant it is. About 90% of these homeless are addicts, and I'm a former addict. And
Mr. Donoso?
Yes, sir.
This is super rude, and I'm sorry, but this time is reserved for 3 minutes, and with your representative and you, we're a little over. But we did talk, and I appreciate your being steadfast in your work there at Feed My Sheep, and I appreciate the hard work that you're doing for the Lord very much. Thank you. You have a lot to overcome, and you're rising to the challenge. Thank you. Tyson? And then Nate Hanna is on deck.
My name is Tyson Thornock. I live at 8720 Fondley Plain, Temple, Texas. I'm within the 200 feet of the project that has been otherwise discussed. Receiving notice was within days of the meeting, and I was unable to attend. As the owner, I have it situated where the mail goes other to my relatives, which then proceeds to me, and so I don't receive any notice of such events of council's meetings regarding the project. And I do not concur with the project that has otherwise been discussed and apparently pushed through. I definitely concerned with the traffic, with it being basically my back door. I know the extreme traffic going through for the schools and the kids. There's safety issues. And just many concerns regarding maybe unit within that small development area. And so it's kind of baffling that it would be presumably overlooked regarding the traffic, the safety issues, and the devaluation of what's going to happen regarding the area. And with all that considered, I'm not familiar with the legal proceedings or if there are any, if this can not proceed and not take place. Because I would have been here if I could have regarding the council meeting, because I'm within the 200 feet. We homeschool, so we don't even use the schools because the culture there. I mean, you're allowing drag queen artists in the city, you know. That's why culture in the schools isn't going to be. It's deteriorating our country as a whole. If you haven't noticed, we're looking at difficult situations coming up. But this being pushed forward is beyond belief. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Larry, my chop, not your chop.
Hello, good evening, council members, neighbors, fellow citizens of Temple. My name is Nate Hanna, and I live at 8606 Fallen Leaf Lane, Sage Meadows, Temple, Texas. I'm here at this meeting in the spirit of the Irish statesman, Sir Edmund Burke, who stated that nobody makes a greater mistake than he who does nothing because he could only do a little. I'm asking that item Q, if I have that right, or the agenda item corresponding to the proposed Cedar Ridge apartment complex be removed from this evening's vote for further review and discussion. If this is indeed a fait accompli, which is French for a foregone conclusion, I still have relevant concerns that should be addressed in further discussion. First, as a tax-paying homeowner since 2020, living within several hundred yards of the proposed build site, I did not know about this proposed project until this past Saturday when I received an email from the HOA making me aware of the meeting. If this notification precedes me, I also find it interesting that none of my neighbors knew it either, many of whom have lived in the neighborhood since it was built. This is a red flag. How could a project of this scale that stands to impact me, my family, and my neighbors so immensely just appear seemingly out of nowhere? And why? I'd like an answer for that beyond this meeting. Second, the lack of transparency on how this will affect the infrastructure that sustains mine and my existing neighbors' homes. I'm talking specifically about roads and road safety. I witness a steady half-hour flow of traffic each day as parents of children who do not live in my neighborhood use my residential street adjacent to the school as an alternate drop-off point to avoid the 15 to 20 minute long waits for dropping and picking up their children off of the Cedar. This is already unwanted, unnecessary, and potentially dangerous traffic on my street to avoid a traffic situation in the neighborhood that stands to be made worse by this project as designed. Finally, I'd like to point out that our council member is conspicuously not here to represent my concerns, my neighbors' concerns, and whatever democratic process comes from this evening. I'm asking that you take his place as a surrogate for my concerns. In closing, there are enough red flags here to warrant further reviews and discussion about the proposed site plan. Again, I'd ask that you respect my concerns, my neighbors' concerns in regards to this evening's agenda and remove item Q from the vote. Thank you in advance.
And Charles Myers.
My name is Larry Mychalk. Please join me for a change of gears for just a couple of minutes. These comments will be on the internet later at awordforthought.com. As an elected official, you have choices. Do you aspire to be a politician or believe you can become a statesman? Politicians check the wind and follow accordingly. Statesmen check the truth and lead accordingly. You can follow the pleasing winds of LGBT and DEI, but they will soon become a tornado, a tyrant never satisfied. There is a way that seems right to man, but its end is the way of death. Or you can lead with the solid truth of the Bible to know what is right and wrong and vote for right. Then Jesus said to those Jews who believed in him, if you continue in my words and my words abide in you, then you will know the truth and the truth will set you free. George Washington said, it is impossible to rightly govern a nation without God and the Bible. The clear reason that LGBT and DEI in any form is incompatible with Christianity, they can only talk about love and including everyone except Christians. Christianity calls for repentance from sin and accepting God's love and forgiveness paid by Jesus on the cross. Wordforthought.com.
Thank you, Mr. Mychalk. Mr. Myers.
Mayor, council members. I'm Charles Myers, a combat veteran. I live at 1040 Lonesome Oak Drive. I'm here to talk about pulling item Q from the consent agenda. My concerns, as many people have already expressed already, one was the notice. I've lived there for 10 years. I do work from home. I don't remember seeing a notice. I don't know how that was communicated. I am a little upset that, yes, this did get passed through without any, I'm going to say, voting or acceptance by me or my council member, my representative, who I also notice is not here as well. So my concern is one about bringing the notice, and then did I get a voice, and did my council representative actually give me a voice? The second point that I'd like to bring up is actually regarding the infrastructure. A couple of people have mentioned the traffic assessment. Has that been done? They also mentioned the traffic on Cedar Park as well as on Adams. The concern around safety. I run in that area. And I do know that especially around school time, the traffic is already bad. Enough so that children trying to get to school or walk away from school have challenges. But now we're going to add another 180, 200 people in that area and cars. Along with the safety of our children, I also have concerns someone had brought up about EMS, emergency services. My in-laws live in there. They're approaching 80. There is a concern about how can they either get help or how can the help come to them. So I would want to see that traffic analysis and see, are we actually doing something that's smart? Having lived at 1040 Lonesome Oak for the last 10 years, I have seen the neighborhood grow. And so it's not my fear of growth that concerns me. The growth is okay. And as long as the expansion and the growth are done correctly, I think we've got a good plan here. My concern is, was this done correctly like we did before? So could you please review that? And again, I'm going to ask that item Q get pulled and have a second look from you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, first off, I want to thank everyone. We actually moved through that pretty quickly. I appreciate everybody, your comments. I appreciate you sticking to the time allotted. Very much appreciated. A few things. I have directed the city secretary to pull up the records of the distribution list that was sent out back in 2019 to find out what addresses that was sent to. If there's any sort of discrepancy, we'll figure out what to do with that next. Now, I think that we've made it clear, but if not, the people that would receive a notice of a zoning change would be within 200 feet of the property line of the subject property. Okay, so I think I heard somebody say they lived within 200 feet, received the notice. I heard somebody else say they lived, several hundred yards from there. Well, someone several hundred yards wouldn't receive a notice. I realize that impacts you, but again, that's something that you wouldn't have received a notice about. So also this item being on the consent agenda tonight, what that does is that allows it does approve the project, but if for those folks that attended last week or 2 weeks ago, if you'll remember that approval is based upon the recommendations of the traffic impact study, the TIA, and the negotiation with the developer between the city council and the developer. And then those negotiated points would then come back to the city council. So assuming that this item moves forward and is approved, that's still not the end of it, because the traffic impact analysis and what's required from that and what's been negotiated between the developer and the city will then come back again for approval. So if the traffic impact study ends up requiring a lot, and for whatever reason, the developer or it's agreed upon, it wouldn't be agreed upon not to do something. If it's decided by the developer or whoever would pay for that they're not willing to pay for that, then the development doesn't go forward. Okay. So I know this is a lot of city speak. I understand that. We have to approve it so we can look at it again. We've heard that one before. So, but please understand that going through the process allows a traffic impact study to take place, because again, everything that we've talked about with traffic and all the items that we've discussed is not what this item's about. This item is about a site plan, because the zoning has been approved. It was approved back in 2019 with another developer. For whatever reason, that developer didn't move forward with the project, but that zoning follows the piece of land. It doesn't follow the developer. Okay. So I know this is strange. Sometimes someone earlier mentioned the monitors, and we're all kind of sitting back behind them. Whenever I first ran for office, I felt the same way. And I also felt like this is a weird situation where y'all come up for public comments and then council doesn't say anything. We're not allowed to say anything. We have lots of comments that we'd be happy to share over the phone or at some other time other than this public setting. It's not that your elected officials are just sitting here not caring. It's just that open meeting law requires that we not have an open discussion about this. So, and to the point of our District 4 member, he's ill, and I talk to him frequently, and he is up to speed on this particular project. He's reading up on it, and I'm having conversations with him about it. So, so that's all I have to say. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for your concern. I mean, that's what we've said, and we've had meetings like this that the public comments is over. We've had meetings before where there were 2 or 3 people, where we had more staff people in here than citizens. So again, we all truly appreciate what has taken place here, because this is democracy. This is what we're supposed to do in a free society. So thank you all for that. And again, I've asked Ms. Llewellyn to pull information to find out what addresses those went to back in 2019 and also the most recent one. Okay? And then we'll make that information available. I'm not sure how we'll do that. Would that require an open records request then for the folks to then get the addresses or? And I want to, for the folks here, I want to make that as easy as possible.
That's something that we can gather together and I'll work with the city secretary to find the best way to make that available to the
Okay.
public. We could
Without
post
a
it-
big administrative process.
We could post it maybe on the city secretary's website.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm assuming, I mean, I wasn't here in 2019, but normally those addresses are listed within the packet of who we're required to mail them to. So that information has already been made public. So if it is public, then we can just put it out there again.
That'd be great.
Okay.
Yeah, make the process as easy as possible.
There may, just to clarify though, there may be some limitations about publicly posting people's addresses. There are some privacy issues that we'll need to look at. So
Posted without names, just simply the address.
it's
Or
it's the
that-
address, not the name, but maybe we'll have a map or something like that. We'll see what we have and what we can
Okay.
provide.
Because again, part of transparency, Wayne, if he left, and open government is about being sure that people are noticed, that notices are sent and received when things like this impact you. So again, thank you everybody for your patience. And we will we'll get that information out just as quickly as possible. But again, council, we discussed this during our meeting earlier, and actually, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. So let's move on to the bond item before we go back to public comment. Okay, so I'm closing public comments, moving on to item 3, which is the first and final reading that requires a public hearing to consider for consideration and action with respect to the 11th supplemental ordinance to the master ordinance establishing the City of Temple, Texas Utility System Revenue Financing Program related to the issuance of the City of Temple, Texas Utility System Revenue Bonds Series 2022. Ms. Bernard.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. Get my clicker working. In short, this 11th supplemental ordinance to the City of Temple Utility System Revenue Financing Program allows for the award of the sale of utility system revenue bond series 2022. Project funds to be received from this bond issue are 17.8 million. I believe the par is a little bit different. It's for utility system improvements. The water and wastewater rates that are adopted and applied to FY 2023 support the debt service on these bonds. The annual debt service, average annual debt service is a little over 1.3 million, and delivery of the funds would be November 10th, 2022. Just a project list of what the bonds are funding. You can see on the list, the outer loop, phase 1 utility improvements. A lot of these improvements deal with our TCIP projects and the water and sewer to support those. I won't go through the whole list, but 17.8 million in projects. And tonight, bids were opened or received this morning. And tonight, Dan Wigmiller with Specialized Public Finance, Inc. will go over and the bids and recommend the lowest bidder. And we also have Carol Palumbo with our bond counsel to speak to any information regarding the ordinance. Mr. Wigmiller.
Great. Thanks, Ms. Bernard. Mayor, Council, Dan Wegmiller with Specialized Public Finance. The part of this process that we've always gone through is getting your bond rating reviewed and affirmed. And in this case, they did once again affirm your AA bond rating on the utility, which puts you 2 notches from the highest bond rating possible of AAA. I wanted to note, because obviously there's interest rates have moved, inflationary pressures on projects, and the economy is a little different than the last time they looked at this in early 2021. But they noted in their review, the conservative budgeting and system growth allows the utility to have very strong liquidity that when coupled with its rate affordability, growing customer base, and willingness to monitor and adjust rates as needed, should permit the rating to stay at this level or improve. So despite everything that's kind of gone on, and as you can see, we had very strong interest today in your AA rated bonds. We received 10 bids, which, as typical when we sell bonds for Temple, you get some of the highest number of bidders interested because they know the credit quality. They like where you're positioned in the state and the economy. The 10 bids with the low bid being 4.229481% from R.W. Barrett and Company. The high bid of 4.809752 from Huntington Securities, still a relatively tight grouping. Rates are up. There was a period in time when I would come and present these rates and we were excited about 4%. Then things trended down and the last sale, which was actually one of your largest sales, was in the 1.8% range. So we're still near all-time lows. And again, you got 10 strong bids. So 4.22 in this market is still very good. I'll be glad to answer any questions you have on the bid, the rating process, or Carol is here as well if you need any questions about the supplement.
You liked the 1.8.
I did too.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Council, any questions for Ms. Bernard or Mr. Wegner? Okay, very good. Then at this time, I'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on this matter may do so. We ask you step to the podium or raise your hand on the virtual platform.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Alan Lytle. I'll tell you where I live this time, 504 Paseo del Plata. By the time it gets to here, you don't get to realize, and the public doesn't get to realize just how much work Tracy and her staff have put into this. It's a huge amount of work to keep this city running, and especially as they've complained about the new apartments and all the building that's going on, to be prepared to give those people water, sewer, garbage is an extremely difficult task that they do superbly every time they get assigned it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lytle. That was a breath of fresh air from you. Don't be insulted. I'm thanking you for that. Anyone else or anyone on the virtual platform?
No, sir.
Very good. Then council, at this time, I'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion on item 3.
Mayor, I make a motion for approval.
Second.
We have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Morales. We have a second by Councilmember Walker. Council, please cast your vote. Item 3 passes 4 votes to 0. Now we're moving on to the consent agenda. All items listed under this section are to be considered by routine by the city council and may be enacted in one motion. If discussion is desired by the council, any item may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of any council member and will be considered separately. Council, during workshop, we did agree to remove item G for a very brief presentation. Is there anything else that you would like to remove? Okay, very good. Then council, at this time, I'll entertain a motion on items 4A through 4AE minus item G.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda items 4A through 4AE minus G.
Second it.
You have a motion by Councilmember Long, a second by Councilmember Walker. Council, please cast your vote. That item passes 4 votes to 0. Moving on to item 4G is to consider adopting a resolution authorizing an interlocal agreement between the City of Temple and Temple High School, Temple Independent School District, for a student internship affiliation agreement. Is Mr. Martinez still here?
I'm going to take this one on his
Oh,
behalf,
okay.
Mayor. As noted, this item before you tonight is for a partnership with TISD. As you know, TISD offers a career prep program to promote job readiness straight out of high school. The item that you have before you is a memorandum of understanding that would allow our city fleet shop to establish an internship program that would give students an opportunity to have hands-on experience both in the automotive tech industry as well as the heavy machinery tech industry, in hopes that we can help them gain that real life experience, be prepared once they graduate high school to go into a career. And hopefully occasionally we get one of those here at the City of Temple as well, because we'd love to see that talent stay local and help Temple out. So happy to answer any questions you may have about this, and really looking forward to this program.
Very good. Council, any questions for Mr. Olson? Yep. Another instance of a good partnership between the city and the school district. So appreciate those guys over there. So council, I'll entertain a motion on item 4G.
Mayor, I'll second that motion.
We have a motion by Councilmember Walker. We have a second by Councilmember Long. Council, please cast your vote. Item 4G passes 4 votes to 0. Moving on to the regular agenda. Item 5 is to consider adopting a resolution approving the final plat of the enclave at Lake Belton Phase 3 subdivision, which is a 70.011 plus or minus acre, 40 lot, 3 block residential subdivision with a developer requested exemption to UDC section 8.3 related to park fees and UDC section 8.2.j related to maximum street grades located in the extraterritorial jurisdiction of the city of Temple, Texas, Bell County, along an extension of Blanco Springs Road. Ms. Maxwell.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. This item is before you this evening due to exceptions that are requested with the plat. And this shows the location of the property. This property is way out west on the far extent of our western ETJ, just off of State Highway 36. You can see in the second exhibit here that the ETJ line actually bisects the property. This shows phase 3 along with phases 1 and 2 that are currently undergoing development. The 3 phases have one access point off of State Highway 36 via Blanco Springs Road. Our UDC allows up to 75 residential lots with 1 entrance. And in this case, there's with the 3 phases combined together, there's 71 lots. So that requirement is satisfied. Do want to point out that the Bell County regulations only allow 1 entrance up to 50 lots. So an exception was requested and has been approved by the county. So again, phase 3 is 40 residential lots. They range in size from 0.8 acres to 3.71 acres in size. Access is provided from a continuation of Blanco Springs Road. This portion of the roadway will have a 60-foot right-of-way with a 25-foot pavement width. The other streets in this phase will have a similar pavement width of 25 feet, but a slightly smaller right-of-way of 50 feet of right-of-way. And this phase also proposes 2 cul-de-sacs, and stub outs are provided for future roadways to be extended to the north, the south, and the west. And do want to note also that the streets in this phase are privately owned and maintained by the HOA. So they have requested an exception to allow a maximum street rate of 10% instead of 7.5%. The 2 locations where this would apply are shown on this exhibit. This is an exception that was also requested and approved with previous phases. So staff does support the request, and do want to note also that the county's requirement is 10%. So they are basically asking for the same as what the county requires. And let's see here. Water will be provided by the Grove Water Supply Corporation. There's an existing 6-inch water line that will be extended for this phase. And this will be able to support fire hydrants. So fire hydrants will be provided. There is no sanitary sewer lines available in this area. So on-site septic systems are proposed subject to approval by the Bell County Public Health District. The other exception is related to the private parkland. Again, this was an exception that was approved with previous phases to allow private parkland dedication instead of public. The requirement for all 3 phases would be just over half an acre or almost $16,000 if they paid the fee. With the first 2 phases, they dedicated private parkland and also paid for improvements. And these for the 2 phases, and again, the areas that were dedicated are shown in green. Those 2 phases actually exceed the requirement for all 3 phases. So
with this phase, no additional parkland is proposed and no payment of the park fee. So basically, they're asking for that exception, which has been satisfied with the previous phases. Staff does support the exception. Do want to note that the plat was determined to be administratively complete on September the 26th. It is in the Belton ISD, and again, it is in the county, and all county comments have been addressed. So staff does recommend approval of this plat and the exceptions, and the Planning and Zoning Commission did recommend approval as well with a vote of 8-0 at their October 3rd meeting. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Maxwell. Council, any questions? I've got one. It's mostly just out of curiosity. On those, the grading exceptions that are being requested in the ETJ.
Right.
And you said that the 10% matches the county requirement. Does that fall under our newly adopted, I guess, an MOU with the county about
Right.
dual approvals?
Yeah, it's a timing issue.
Mhm.
Basically, any new submittals that we have, we're processing under that new MOU. This was submitted a while back, so if those that are currently under the review cycle, unless they withdraw it, if it's currently under the review cycle, we're processing as we did at that point in time, which
Right.
would be the city is the lead, and then the county reviews it also.
But that would have fallen under,
Right.
had they submitted it after the
After
last
that,
meeting.
Right, we wouldn't be seeing
Okay.
it, so.
Okay, very good, very good. Council, anything else? This item is not subject to a public hearing, so council, I will entertain a motion on item 5.
I'll make a motion to approve item 5. Mr. Baird's development is really, he's done a wonderful job. I was out there just a couple of weeks ago, and I'm happy to have it move forward.
We have a motion by Councilmember Walker. We have a second by Mayor Pro Tem Morales. Council, if you would, please cast your vote. Item 5 passes 4 votes to 0. That's the end of our agenda. It is currently 6:40. Thank you all.